For sure. Really will do.
Definitely does.
We're live.
Hi, Shabbat Shalom, Lorraine.
Shabbat Shalom, Vicky, and everybody.
So, Lorene, we're going to be neighbors.
We are?
And I apologize, but we're going to start now, so I'm going to mute everyone.
Text me,
and then we
text
can
me,
talk
Sandy.
afterwards.
Share geography somewhere, not
We
on
can-
Facebook.
Which is nice. All right, I'm going to mute everybody. All right. Give me one more moment, and we're going to get started. So tonight we gathered together for Equality Shabbat. Twice a year, we gather together and think about this idea of equality, and usually it is focused on LGBTQ plus issues. We do one in the month of November because on November 20th, we have Transgender Remembrance Day. And then we do one in June because that is Pride Month. But we shouldn't just be thinking about equality during those, well, specific time periods. We should be thinking about equality at all times. And right now, if we look at our world, if we look at this election, if we look at how divided we are, we see that our country needs a lot of love. We are a divided nation with neither side seeing the other as having ethics or morals. Each one of us, from where we stand, we feel that we are right. Raise your hand if you feel like you're always right. I know. Unless my wife's in the room, I'm always right. And those who disagree with us, you got to remember from where they stand, they feel the same. Each one of us as individuals feel like we have the power of truth, the power of knowledge on our side. We find that the chasm is quite wide. So I've been thinking a lot this week because I have been watching so much news pretty much constantly. And in my imagination, we've got two circles and they don't want to connect in any way. So we need to transform our nation from two circles into a Venn diagram. And I love Venn diagrams because what do Venn diagrams do? They overlap. We need to focus on what unites us and not what differentiates us. Can we find the issues where we can all come together to create a better world, or will our disagreements stop us from any form of reconciliation? I don't need a complete overlap. I don't need everyone to agree on everything. I just need a bit of an overlap where we can work together. And as I was thinking about how we don't have much of an overlap anymore, I thought about a congregant who a few years ago I asked to join me and a group of congregants lobbying. And this congregant refused. Even though this congregant was going to lobby on an issue they truly cared about. And the response to me was something like, I don't want to be with those people, meaning the other congregants, because on every other issue, she disagreed with them. One issue. We can come together for one issue. We can come together and we can think about where we agree. But if we allow ourselves to be driven apart because we see the differences, we will never be able to find a way to a better country. We can't let the general overwhelm the specific. We can't let the differences overwhelm the commonality. We can't. We need to remain, united, or at least to become united once again. But equality will only be achieved when we respect one another. Respect one another even while disagreeing. Equality comes when we focus on what connects as compared to what differentiates. And it's tough. In a day, a few days, a few weeks, we'll know the outcome of this election, maybe tonight. But whoever wins, we shouldn't be gloating or we shouldn't feel like all is lost, depending on your perspective. Instead, we need to reach out to one another to begin a process of making our communities stronger through Jewish morals and Jewish ethics. Let's not forget what happened on the sixth day of creation. It was the day human beings came into being. We're taught that each one of us was created B'Tselem Elohim, in God's image. Each one of us is a reflection of all that is holy and all that is spiritual. I know that's difficult to remember on most days, but each one of us is a reflection of God, a different aspect of God. And if you put all of the aspects together, working as one, well, then we truly become a holy, united people. So now I want you to give virtual hugs to those aspects of God that are on your right, on your left, above you, and below you. Give some virtual hugs. Connect. I don't see enough hugs going on. Maureen, Sam, you're the only two screens I can see. Let's remember to reach out and to give some love to one another. We continue with Shalom Aleichem, which is found on page 142. Now, tonight, we're not going to be singing every verse the way we traditionally know it, as we always do on Equality and Pride Shabbat. We take that first verse and we use the female gender pronouns instead of the male. So that's why I keep giving you the link in your chat window to open up those readings, so that way you can follow along and see the word changes. But in English, the translation says, "Welcome to you, great messengers, angels of the divine, who is holy, the one who seeks peace, the Shekhinah of blessing." And the Shekhinah is the feminine presence of God giving us a blessing on Shabbat. So in our books on page 142 and our handouts on page 1, I'm going to turn it over to the Cantor for some music. Cantor.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachiyot Asharet, Malachiyot Elyon, Oy, 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 mi kedosha, rodefet shalom, Hashechina berucha היא. בואכם לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון. מי מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ברכוני לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון. אוי 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 אוי, מי מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. צאתכם לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון. מי מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא.
If that didn't bring you into Shabbat, I don't know what does. Thank you, Cantor. Thank you, Shai. We're going to be turning to page 138 for Lachadodi. And it was written by Halevi Alkabetz. And his name is hidden in the first letters of each verse, spelling, well, the name he went by, Shlomo Halevi. His name is hidden in plain sight. Often, the LGBTQ community has hidden themselves. We want to live in a world where no one has to hide. No one has to be in the closet. Be you a member of the LGBT community or be a Jew in a country that doesn't like Jews. It is our job to find each soul, each name, each human being that is hidden within our community, just as Shlomo Halevi was hidden within his text. So now we sing this song and we look for his name and we think about ways to open doors so everyone can be accepted into our community and to the greater Jewish community. We'll be singing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9, rising on the last verse, welcoming the Sabbath bride. Cantor.
לך דודי לקראת כלה, ידדי, 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 לי שבת נקבלה, אוי אוי אוי. לך דודי לקראת כלה, ידדי, 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 לי שבת נקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשמו לתפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, ידדי, 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 לי שבת נקבלה, אוי אוי אוי. לך דודי לקראת כלה, ידדי, 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 לי שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה. לראש מקדם נשוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, ידדי, 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 לי שבת נקבלה, אוי אוי אוי. לך דודי לקראת כלה, ידדי, 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 לי שבת נקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי בא אורך, קומי אורי, 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 שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, ידדי, 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 לי שבת נקבלה, אוי אוי אוי. לך דודי לקראת כלה, ידדי, 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 לי שבת נקבלה. Please rise and face the door if you are able. בואי ושלום, עטרת בלה, גם בשמחה וצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, ידדי, 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 לי שבת נקבלה, אוי אוי אוי. לך דודי לקראת כלה, ידדי, 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 לי שבת נקבלה.
It's my honor to invite Melissa and Eden to light tonight's Shabbat candle. If you guys start speaking, your image will appear.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. We're so happy to be here with you, especially after the week that we've all had. I think this is what we all need right now, is just to be together. So these candlesticks are my maternal grandmother's, my mom's moms, and they hold a very special place in my heart because she's the base of my Jewishness. I take a lot of how I feel about Judaism from her, and Eden is named after her. She was my baby Esther. So thank you for sharing these with us.
La 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 Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav וציוונו להדליק נר וציוונו להדליק נר וציוונו להדליק נר של שבת.
Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, Eden. That was beautiful. We now turn to our packet. If you have a packet out, we're going to be doing a reading called B'Tselem Elohim that reflects some of the comments I made earlier. It is a responsive reading, but we are, of course, in the land of Zoom. So I'm going to read all of it, but if you're there on the other side of the camera, please join in, read along. We might not be able to hear each other, but we can feel each other's spirits. We are all made B'Tselem Elohim in the image of God. You reflect God through your soul, through your mind, and through your body. We honor today the body that holds, celebrates, and expresses the person who is you. We honor your hands as they do the work of creation, your daily chores, the work of your adventures. Your hands are a gift. We honor feet which carry you on this amazing journey of your life to places near and far through the intimacy of your home and to the ends of the earth. Your feet are a gift. We honor your head, wherein lies your thoughts, great and simple. It is the keeper of your dreams. Your head is a gift. We honor your belly, your gut, center of your passions, locus of your strength, courage, and endurance. Your belly is a gift. And I have a very big gift. We honor you and your body because you are a gift. May you be blessed today and every day with the knowledge of your wholeness, your strength, and your beauty. With these thoughts about how each part of our body represents something special and how we have to show it respect and how we have to live in this world with strength, wholeness, and beauty and knowledge, we rise for the Baruch Hu. Please stand if you are able.
La
please remain standing for the Shema. Listen, children of Israel, Adonai is God, Adonai is one. But so often we are not one. We fight and disagree and see the differences in one another. If I believe that my oneness is different than your oneness, then how can we be one? Because the math doesn't work. We become two when we cannot find commonality, when we cannot connect, we cannot see holiness. Perhaps we say the Shema to remind us just for one moment that oneness is possible. Perhaps it's a moment of true connection, devekut, as they teach us in mystical Judaism. And for a moment, we have that oneness with each other, with all that is holy. And that is enough just to remind us to keep moving forward, to keep doing better, to keep seeing the unity of all. Let's take a moment. Let's take a deep breath in and hold it and let it out. Another deep breath in together as one community. Hold it and let it out. And one more deep breath in. Hold it and let it out. We cover our eyes as the cantor leads us in the Shema.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto לעולם ועד.
You may. We continue with the V'ahavta, Cantor.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
We go back to our handout. There's a reading called Twilight People. Feel free to read along with me in your homes. As the sun sinks and the colors of the day turn, we offer a blessing for the twilight. For the twilight is neither day nor night, but in between. We are all twilight people. We can never be fully labeled or defined. We are many identities and loves, many genders and none. We are in between roles at the intersection of histories or between place and place. We are crisscross paths of memory and destination, streaks of light swirled together. We are neither day nor night. We are both, neither and all. May the sacred in-between of this evening suspend our certainties, soften our judgments, and widen our vision. May this in-between light illuminate our way to the God who transcends all categories and definitions. May the in-between people who have come to pray be lifted up into this twilight. We cannot always define. We can always say a blessing. Blessed are you, God of all, who brings on the twilight. We continue with Micha Mocha, another transitional moment, another moment of neither being here nor there. We walked through a sea of reeds. We crossed it. We were neither slaves nor were we a nation yet. We were something in between. But we knew that moment was special. So we sang the Micha Mocha in joy. You can find the Micha Mocha on page 158. Cantor, please.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים, זה אלי ענו ואמרו, זה אלי ענו
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. So I have a question that I feel needs to be answered. What does Shabbat have to do with equality? So allow me to attempt to answer this by beginning with the book of Leviticus, of all places, which gives us the command to be holy in the plural. We are all given this charge of holiness, no matter who we are. As we are part of the Jewish people, this is what we are charged to do, pursue holiness. In so many verses of Torah, we learn that Shabbat is inherently Kodesh, holy. Remembering Shabbat and protecting it is a collective effort that we all play a part in. It is a gift to all of us equally. And I believe through practicing Shabbat together, we affirm our equality. So let's sing V'shamru together, page 161.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדותם ברית עולם. השבת, לעשות את השבת לדותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, את השבת לדורותם, ברית עולם, כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם, ברית עולם, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם, ברית עולם, וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם, ברית עולם, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם, ברית עולם.
Our thoughts turn now to those who are in need of healing, which is so important, not only now, but in all times, because when we share the names of those that we are thinking of, we think of them together as a community as well and bring healing to them. So I'd like to read the names of those in our community who are in need of healing first, and then we'll have a chance to read the names that are on your minds as well. So please go ahead and add them to the chat, and I will recite them at the end of this list that I have. Anyone who is in need of any type of healing. Luis Adhami, Milt Bluestone, Nancy Brown, Bella Kane, Marme Kiofi, Jackson Dexter, Annette Diamond, Marissa Dupuis, Sadie Finale, Neil Friedman, Peggy Holm, Denisa Kleiner, Posey Kramer, Stan Lieber, Georgia Levenberg, Joe Luttrell, Ruben and Maheen Manavi, Jeff McCoy, Chris Nelson, Katya Nepome, Bruce Newborn, Joe Norton, Marlene Rapport, Brady Rifkin, Milt Schiffman, Jerry Shapiro, Phyllis Stolaroff, Andrea Domi Vargas, Renee Weiss, Ed Wire, Morton Yevzaroff, Jack Zastro. And of course, we'd like to add everyone who's battling COVID-19. Among those, I'd like to add the name of a rabbi who's close to me, Rabbi Sanford Axelrod in Las Vegas. I'll read the names of those added to the chat now. Thank you so much for sharing these names with us. Mark Verige, Dave Oren, Judy Lukov, Barbara Cohen, Lisa Sage, Miles Deitz, Larry Greenberg, David Rubin, Cindy Emanuel, Nelson, the Nelson family, and Lori Spiro. We wish them all a refuah shlema, a complete and full healing. And I'd like to add umahira, speedy healing as well. Thank you for sharing those names. I'd like to begin our Misha Berach prayer with a reading from our handout. So please use that link that Rabbi John sent earlier. I'll try to copy it right now into the chat so you can access it. And please join me with this. This is a Misha Berach for this evening. Misha Berach Avotenu V'imotenu. O God, who blessed our ancestors Abraham and Sarah and Hagar, and who bestows miraculous things to those who are open to your blessings. Send your insight and love to all those named tonight as life's journey brings change. Like Sarah, may we have the strength to continue forward, even if we are not sure where our path will lead. Like Abraham with his son Isaac, may we have the courage to turn challenges into blessings, even as we grapple with life's unmarked paths. Like Hagar with her son Ishmael, may we be granted a glimpse of what is divine so that we may turn our fear into faith. O source of all who revealed the Torah to our people, Let us be open to witnessing your ways in our lives. We bless you, O God, who guides our journeys. And together let us say, Amen. We'll join now in the singing of Misha Berach. You can find that in the Siddur, in our prayer book, page 371 in the middle.
מקור הברכה לאמותינו. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu מקור הברכה לאבותינו. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Again, refuah shlema, full and complete healing. As we turn to the Amidah, I think of the various explanations of why we Jews pray when we do. We learn from Rabbi Yossi in the Talmud Brachot that Abraham, our father, instituted the morning prayer in this week's Torah portion. Abraham rose early in the morning to the place where he had stood before God. The section of Talmud reflects on how Abraham standing in the morning, Isaac conversing or meditating in the field near evening, and finally Jacob encountering the divine at night, that these are all connected. And I find these days we're all doing a lot of sitting, no doubt. There's something divine about standing up, or even if you can't do that right now, simply changing position that allows us to open up to meditation and a chance to encounter God. So I encourage you to be mindful of your body, this Amidah, your feet on the floor, and your legs extended as you stand, the meditations of your heart, and the divine encounter that comes with this Amidah. So we'll begin on page 164, led by our Cantor, and when your silent prayer is complete, please do find your seat. We begin with the Amidah.
Adonai שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah. האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה הכל אתה, רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה. ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיה הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יללו חסלה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Before we take our seats, we have a moment for silent prayer.
יהיו לרצון אמרי פי, והגיון ליבי. יהיו לרצון אמרי פי, והגיון ליבי לפניך. יהיו לרצון אמרי פי, והגיון ליבי. יהיו לרצון אמרי פי, והגיון ליבי לפניך. אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי וגואלי. אדוני צורי, אדוני צורי וגואלי. Go inside your heart and see. Go inside your heart and see what a wonderful what it needs, what it yearns when you breathe. Go inside your heart and see. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be kind, be true, may they be acceptable to you. Oh, my rock, and my Redeemer.
Yasher Koach, that was beautiful. Over the last 10 years, Kol Tikva has developed a very strong relationship with JQ International, Jewish Queer International, and their truly amazing and hardworking staff. A number of years ago, joining along with Shalom Institute and JQ, we founded JQSA, the Jewish Queer Student Alliance, which ran for about 5 years and now has morphed into a new student program with a new name. As all things that are new are actually old, and all that is new is all that is old is new, and all that is new is old. And we've also attended as a community, actually in very large numbers, many Transgender Day of Remembrance programs at JQ's West Hollywood offices. And then so often, almost every year, twice a year, we have speakers from their Speakers Bureau. And we have heard many life stories, each one enlightening us to the journeys of fellow Jews. So tonight, it's my honor to welcome Speaker Shana Gee-Cohen. Shana has an extensive background in supporting and promoting equality and LGBTQ plus activism. She's a graduate of the University of Pennsylvania. She earned her master's in social policy and practice and her BSW from Temple University with a focus on access to healthcare for LGBTQ plus individuals. Shana served as Ben the Ark's West Coast Development Officer, and we've done a lot of work with Ben the Ark in the past, and has worked in the nonprofit Jewish community since 2011. Currently, as Senior Development Officer at JQ's International's executive team, she works to shift the root causes of inequality through a focus on racial and economic justice and queer liberation. Tonight her drash is based on this week's Torah portion, Va'era, and she has titled it, "And He Appeared, How My Catholic Wife Became My Jewish Husband." Please, Shana.
Well, thank you for the beautiful introduction. And I'm just going to do a quick little mic check. Everyone, do I sound okay on this mic? Great. Okay. So I'm so grateful to be representing JQ International and speaking to the Kol Tikva community tonight at Equality Shabbat and on the Shabbat when we read Parsha Va'era. I really think it speaks to the timely theme of power and influence, especially the power and influence that Abraham had over Isaac, and how God tested Abraham's faith. It feels almost a little profound and a little too timely in some ways, but to be thinking about the teaching of this parsha, especially at this moment when there is an absence of a finality, there's no verified election result, and we're on the precipice of some fear and of backlash and possible violence that may rip through our country. Haven't we endured enough? How do we remain hopeful when our humanity is being tested? So in many ways, I think that was exactly the question that Abraham was wrestling with. How could God ask him to sacrifice his only son? Hadn't he endured enough? This landmark story in the Torah is just so fitting to this moment. It's been an unprecedented year. We've endured a pandemic that's threatened and has hurt us, and it's threatened our safety and our sense of well-being. We also know that racial injustice continues to wound our world and our nation, and our hard-won LGBTQ rights have been subject to relentless assaults this year and the last 4 years, sadly. At a time of such uncertainty, and even as I prepared my remarks for this evening, I know anything can change at any moment. So what keeps me grounded is focusing on what we do know and how we must muster the courage to combat despair. One of the ways I've been able to be resilient in my life is by meeting new people and hearing their inspirational stories. It feeds my soul and gives me the courage to share openly and vulnerably. One of my favorite writers, Maya Angelou, said, "There is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside you." So while our country's faith is being tested, I do hope that my story will provide you with some sense of hope. So growing up in the white, Protestant, working class suburbs of Minneapolis, Minnesota, we were one of the 3 Jewish families in the area. And certainly the only Jews that lived on Christmas Lake. In my early teens, I came out as queer, and I prayed to find a community that would embrace and understand what it means to be a fabulous, queer, femme, Jewish woman, or as I like to say sometimes, a Jewess. I moved out of my parents' home when I was 18 years old and moved into a woman's punk co-op in South Minneapolis. My rent was $100 a month, and I worked several gig jobs at night to focus on gender justice and LGBTQ plus activism. I spent countless hours at the Seward Cafe and the feminist lesbian bookstore, which ironically was called Amazon. And I spent my time reading these things called zines, little like kind of mini self-made magazines, self-published magazines about building an intentional feminist radical world. So even though I grew up in a Jewish home, both my parents struggled to provide for me and my brother. Part of their issue was they were drug abusers, and the other issue was them dealing with mental health. My mother grew up in a very abusive home, and her coping strategy was to smoke pot all day and make beaded jewelry. She couldn't really hold down a job for more than a year or two. While my dad was very entrepreneurial, he struggled also with drug addiction. And I think one of the biggest things that hurt him was when he was a young boy, my grandfather was indicted for racketeering. Losing a parent to incarceration that young was always a shadow over my father's kind heart. So understandably, money for college was not something my parents had for me or my brother. And when I was 16 and starting to think about college, I remember my mother vividly saying, "You can go to college when you figure out how to pay for it yourself." So for many people, that would have broken their hearts. But for me, it cemented my early independence and self-sufficiency. So looking back 20 years now, I'm amazed. I'm amazed that I was able to be independent. I was able to hold down a full-time job and then eventually apply and get myself into college. I did it on my own and even picked a career path fighting for social change. So by the time I was 28, believe it or not, I'd received my master's degree from the University of Pennsylvania and started my first nonprofit job working for the Jewish Federation. The only thing that was missing in my life was a life partner. It was 2011, and I had learned of an organization that was offering scholarships to LGBTQ people that had never been to Israel. I decided to go. And it was such a deeply spiritual time and trip for me. I wrote this very long note, and I highlighted in detail. In this note, I said, these are my hopes of finding a life partner. So I literally listed every single one of my hopes, from how charming they would be to, what they would look like. I mean, it was very detailed. And I folded the note up and I brought it with me. And when we went to the wall, I prayed and I put it in the wall. So a month later, turns out I meet my person. That night, I was spinning records at a house party in Northeast Minneapolis, and a mutual friend invited Beck. Beck is my partner. And they decided to stop by on their way to another party. And I instantly noticed Beck walk in. Totally my type, that kind of like cute, androgynous, edgy, but not too edgy person. So I put on the next song and I walked over and introduced myself to Beck. And I said, yeah, I DJ queer parties. like I was just like some total, like, just a silly person. And he said, well, I'm a DJ too. And I was like, that's cool. And literally, it's like, I was pretty sure that God had read my letter because it was love at first sight. The universe had just lined us up in the most like ridiculous moment. And from that night on, we were together. So a year into our marriage, Beck shared with me that she wanted to transition from female to male. How can my wife want to become a man? To be honest, it was really hard. And as I tell the story, it's like I'm remembering who this person was and who this person is. And there's a lot of interchanging of pronouns happening. So I think you're following with me. But when I met Beck was Becca, and now Beck is Beck. But I don't want to discredit who they are now. So it was really hard. And there was so much uncertainty. Like, will I even love you after hormones? Will I even love you after surgery? There was so much unknown. A lot of tears, a lot of fights, and a lot of sadness. But the one thing that was certain was that I had faith in us and that God had aligned us for a reason. I fell in love with Beck's neshama. And I fervently believe that our neshamas, our soul connections, do not have a gender. Our neshama is the manifestation of our essence. It's our essence of being alive. It's the culmination of our mental abilities, of our reason, our character, feeling, consciousness, memory, perception. And like, how could our memories be gendered? So I thought about that, and I thought deeply about that. And I said, I love Beck, regardless of her or his outward gender. Not only did Beck transition genders, he also converted to Judaism. After studying with a local rabbi, he faced a Beit Din, immersed himself at the mikveh, and had a full conversion ceremony. Looking back, his transition and conversion were absolutely beautiful. And I'm so proud to share that his appearance in my life turned out to be a blessing. And while that is factually true, I feel that the Beck that I am married to now has always been there. It just took time, hope, prayers, and patience for him to fully appear. So, I jokingly say my Catholic wife became my Jewish husband, but it's really true. It took patience. And at this moment, we're all feeling the impatience. Well, I'm feeling the impatience of the election. And I'm exhausted by quarantine And I just want to dig in. I want to dig in, and I want to offer the community a blessing so we can further manifest our strength together. Our strength. So there's a Hasidic teaching that explains that the word bracha literally means to draw down. Everything in life, health, prosperity, joy, and wisdom, needs to be drawn down from its spiritual state into the actuality of our physical existence. Judaism teaches us that it's our role as human beings to draw all the goodness of our metaphysical existence into our physical bodies. Literally, we have the power to channel goodness to ourselves, to each other, and to the planet with our words and with our actions. So with that, I offer the community my blessing for patience as someone who has certainly have had to be very patient. So may this uncertain time in our lives help us to manifest deeper relationships with one another. May we support each other and share our times of difficulty and pain, as well as celebration. May we accept each other's faults with understanding, that whole circle over circle thing. And may we find inspiration in our shared stories, that in between place. May we have the strength to offer bold challenge and encouragement. May we discover a reflection of divine creation in one another, and may the love of our human bond be a true blessing in our lives, in God's eyes, and let us say, Amen. It is my hope that hearing a little bit of my story and some of the resilience I picked up along the way will inspire you to have faith that goodness and new heart connections are right around the corner for each and every one of us. Shabbat Shalom, and thank you.
Shabbat Shalom, and I have so much to say. Yasher Koach on a beautiful Devar, connecting us to the Parsha, but also to your life story. And I want to thank you on behalf of our entire Kol Tikva community for sharing and walking us through your life story, and Bex as well. And we're so happy to have you both as members of the tribe, and for helping us cultivate our neshama on this Equality Shabbat too. Someone is sharing a screen right now, but that's okay. I want to transition over, and thank you again, Shana. I want to transition over to our board member Roland to lead us through announcements, please.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Great. Sorry that my picture was showing. I'm actually in the living room with my whole family. There is no camera. Wow, what a fabulous story. Thank you so much, Shana, Gee-Cohen. Just a wonderful story of change, of growth and love. Truly inspirational. Thank you so much. So my name is Roland Manchel, and I am proud to be the board representative of our ECC, to which my daughter Darla belongs. To our wonderful Cantor Noa and Shai, how truly blessed we are to have such a wonderful voice every service. I have belonged to many temples, and that is not always the case. Our religious leader, Sam Klein, thank you so much. And our fearless leader, Rabbi Jon, thank you for this beautiful, wonderful virtual sermon. On to events. For all upcoming events, please see our emails for all the Zoom links. You can sign up through our upcoming events tab on our wonderful website. If you haven't been there, please check it out. Now, here are some highlights. Sunday, November 8th is Mitzvah Day, How to Make a Blanket, and that's at 11:15 a.m. to 12:15 p.m. Learn how to make a blanket for My Stuff Bags Foundation. You can pick up the fabric from us, or if you want to pick it up on your own, please do so. Monday, November 9th, Mitzvah Day continues, How to Make a Paracord Bracelet. I need to find out what that is. And Dog and Cat Toys at 4:30 p.m. follow along with step-by-step instructions. Again, you can pick up the materials at the temple, or if you want to pick them up on your own, please do so. On Monday, November 9th, our Kol Tikva community at work at 5:30 p.m. Rabbi Jon and your community will check in and hear the inspirational news about the tremendous response to Mitzvah Day, hear from the speakers of our partners organization benefiting from your contributions, and learn about where and how your donations help. Please keep working on those Mitzvah Day projects. Our community partners, thank you. Monday, Torah study at 11:30 a.m. I understand this book is a very good read. If you would like to understand the Torah more, this is a fantastic place to start with a fantastic teacher. Tuesday, November 10th, Tot Stories and Fun at 3:30 p.m. Grab your kids or grandkids and join Anna for an afternoon of story and fun. For some reason, I feel like I'm on a cruise and I'm directing all the events. Tuesday, November 10th, Knit, Craft, and Conversation. There may be some wine involved. That's at 7 p.m. Next week's service is our Family and Veteran Shabbat. If you are a veteran and we have not reached out to you, please call Jessica in the office. We would really love for you to be a part of that. Also, keep an eye out for the Education Fundraiser Hanukkah event. It's going to be a blast. Lots to do and fun for the whole family. I would personally like to thank those of you that have donated to the temple. Thanks to people like you, Kol Tikva is able to thrive and serve its community. In a time like this, there is no greater gift than your contribution. Please join us next week for our virtual service on Zoom, again at 6:30 p.m., and please use the Zoom link tonight. Stay after the service for our virtual Oneg. I wish you, your family, and everyone good health and peace at this time. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Roland and Yashar Koach. I think we're up to a few things here at Kol Tikva, so appreciate you sharing that with the community. So in our packets, we actually have a special Aleinu for this evening called the Queer Aleinu. Rabbi Jon, you did such a great job adding that into the chat, but I'll copy the link at least and get that to you all. It's at the end of the document. And I would invite you, if you are able, to please rise with me, as is traditional for the Aleinu, as we read it together. So together, let us praise the ruler of the universe and adore the creator of the world, who did not make us like other nations, who created us different from other people and set us on a separate path toward a special destiny. Sometimes we may feel excluded because we are gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, queer identified, or straight, Jewish or non-Jewish, female or male, old or young, or disabled. We conceal the unique attributes with which we are created in God's image. May God strengthen our inner resolve to honor and fulfill our unique purpose, to live out God's wonderful and unknowable design, in which each one of us is a vital participant. Therefore, we bow in reverence before the Supreme Ruler, the Holy One, who is to be blessed. I'd like to ask Cantor Noa to please lead us in the conclusion of our Aleinu blessing.
ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
You may be seated. Our thoughts turn now to those whom we have lost in our community. And I want to first read the names of those who are recently departed. Chuck Miller, remembered by Angelica, Sadie, and Maddie Miller, the Baldevies family, and Karen and Adam Friedman. Ronald Simon, remembered by Steve Simon, the Berger family, and Joe and Ira Karnofsky. Richard Haft, remembered by Terry and Heather Haft, Michael Haft, Robin and David Berger, as well as Joe and Ira Karnofsky. Carolyn Lieber, remembered by the Kol Tikva community. Linda Weiss, remembered by Rick, Melissa, Michelle, Dina, her grandchildren, and Terry and Rob Moline. Bess Alderman, remembered by Joe and Ira Karnofsky, Jan Berger. Eric Rosas, remembered by Samantha Duenas. And I'd also like to add the Yord sites, the anniversaries of the deaths of Ida Ackerman, Joanne Bornholtz, Ira Conrad, Ida Davis, Gerald Demain, Morris Dunner, Blanche Fischler, Drucker, Lori Holtz, Miriam Miltzy Liboff, Morris Milmet, Theodore R. Morris, Florence Shear, Larry Sewack, Harvey Shankin, Mark Silver, Sanford Spiro, Evelyn Stark, Sharon White, William Wiss, Dorothy Wiss, Fanny Zweig, and Nathan Zweig. If there are any other names that you'd like to share with the community, those you've lost in recent days or those that you're just remembering at this time, please do share that name in our chat. And I see Phyllis Bogart, remembered by the Freund and Bogart families. Marge Klein, remembered by Lisa Sage, Linda Sage, and Karen Weld. We say, Zichronam Livracha, may all of their memories be for a blessing. I'd like to invite you now to please rise if you are currently observing Shiva, the first week of mourning. If you're observing Shloshim, the first 30 days, please rise. If you're observing Shana, or the first year of mourning, first 11 months, please rise. And if you're observing a Yortzeit, an anniversary of a death, please rise. These are the mourners in our community. We stand in solidarity with them as we recite the Mourners Kaddish, which can be found in the chat or also on page 598 of your Siddur. Join together. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah. Be'alma divra chirotei ve'amlich malchutei. V'chayechon u'vyomechon u'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael. Ba'gala v'zman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'amei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yidromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei d'kedusha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbachata v'nechmata. The Amiran be'alma v'imru Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, to which we say together, Amen. It's now time for Oseh Shalom, the words that we just spoke. Let's put our arms around each other. I hope you can feel that reach. And Cantor Noa, please lead us away.
Oseh Shalom b'mromav. Hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom b'mromav. Hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom b'mromav. Hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom. Yaseh shalom. Shalom aleinu. Israel, Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל העולם.
So I see that a number of us are ready for the next step here. So raise your glasses high as Cantor Noa leads us in sanctifying Shabbat with the Kiddush.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, בורא פרי הגפן, לחיים.
Chaim. Whew, okay. If you got a challah on hand, please raise it up. I see Rabbi Jon. Let me spotlight you for a second here. Beautiful challah, perhaps made by Luna.
Yeah, she probably made it.
Correct. It looks great as
I
always.
made this. It smells great. Oh wow.
West Mark.
Wonderful. I see one from Maxine and Peter. Oh, nice sesame going on there. Excellent. Let's see any others. Excellent. Oh, Lisa and Sarah. Beautiful challah. Wow, that looks very doughy. Okay, let's see.
What is it keep doing that?
I see Vicky's got a piece of challah. Excellent, Vicky. And I have challah from Trader Joe's. Bachelor life. Okay. Please join me in Motzi with Cantor Noa.
There is told.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, המוציא לחם מן הארץ בתיאבון. Shabbat shalom, everybody.
Can we unmute it? Yeah.
I want to give the last word to Rabbi Jon here, but I just want to thank you all for being here and thank you so much, Shana.
The last word is everyone is unmuted. I thought it was a beautiful service tonight. Thank you, Shana. Thank you, Cantor. Thank you, Shai. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Roland. And thank all of you for being present. I think it was a really inspirational evening. I learned a lot. So thank you all. All right. If you want to unmute yourselves and say Shabbat Shalom to one another, or Sandy, explain to Lorraine how you're moving into her house. It's all good.
Not quite. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. And on Monday night, let's not forget community meeting, please. Everyone's being so quiet tonight. Well, okay, let me try and mute you again.
A long week. Long
That's
stretch.
right. That's my meeting.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Shabbat
Shabbat shalom, Laura.
Good to see everybody.
I love 3 generations of Getzes. That's so cute.
Shabbat shalom, Rabbi and Lisa.
Sign up
Have a good weekend. Shabbat shalom, Lisa.
Bye-bye.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat
Shabbat
shalom,
shalom,
everybody.
Tina.
Bye-bye. Shabbat shalom. Bye, Bunny.
Everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
Lori.
Shabbat shalom.
Hi there.
Oh,
Be
good
fabulous.
to see you. Good to see you.
It's nice seeing you. Is Shana still on? I can't see.
No, she
I
left.
think she went off.
She left.
All right. Well, thank you. Will you please tell her thank you? It was really wonderful.
It was a great story.
Yeah, and it was done with such joy. You know, often like these stories end up being a little bit sad, the journeys, and it's nice to see someone who actually there's so much joy in the way it all turned out. It was lovely. There are toes in your face right now. You know that.
He's
Whose toes are those?
we're all in our pajamas.
Not me.
Oh, Hashem, that's the joy of right now.
Look like pajamas.
Say
Oh my
hello.
God.
Oh man, no, please, no.
Good. All right. Good night, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
Everybody, I'm gonna turn everybody off if that's okay.
Good weekend. Okay.
All right, see you guys later. Mwah.
Say mwah.